Hi, welcome. Today my watercolour painting is entitled Sydney Harbour Cranes and Building Works, using techniques to show an industrial story of progress in the quay in Sydney. The paper I'm using is A3 Archer Smooth. I've got a photograph there of the cranes and building works in Sydney. The watercolours I'm using are Winsor & Newton, Winsor Yellow, Cobalt Blue, Rose Madder, Art Spectrum, Phthalo Blue, and Schminke Madder Brown. I'm also working on a plastic plate. A lot of the time I do that because when I'm doing a specific artwork, I find it difficult out of my palette to find a lot of the colours. So that's why I've done that with a bit of blue tack to stop it from moving around because they shimmy around. Okay, so my water container's here and I'm using a mop brush, number 2 mop brush, some natural hair and an old toothbrush. And I've got a Hake brush that may avert some sort of disaster if it goes wrong, that I can brush out. And I'm also using a small water container spray, which is from the Dissolve It bottles, which I find fabulous for a little spray. Because it's a pump action, you don't have to keep pressing the top of it. I do have automatic ones and that, but I've gone back to just an ordinary old water bottle. Okay, so the idea will be that this will be the focus of the artwork, so it'll have the cranes up later, and at this stage I'll just be doing the background. So I'll put that aside, and okay, I've got the colours on the plate here, and I've actually just moved them down, and not too much water to start with, but just move some paint down so I can pick it up with the toothbrush. It's going to make a horrible noise, but that's okay. We have to suffer that for our art form. Phthalo Blue, just make sure I've got plenty of that. It's a fairly big page to cover. The plan is to do some colour up here that will be an underpainting, and the speckle around the edge. This one's the madder, brown madder, and also the rose madder. Okay, so those colours are there and they're wet on the palette so that I should be able to pick them up. Okay, the toothbrush has got a bit of colour in it from being used previously. It's just damped. And damping it means just damped. It can't have too much water in it. I'll spray beside me. I'll actually show you that. I'll spray beside me before I go to the paper so that I don't actually just make a mess. And so I can see there. So if I put cobalt blue on it, as I said, it's noisy, and start to spray, it'll spray around here by tickling underneath the actual brush. I'm going like that, sideways, just letting that go on around the artwork. So that's the blue. That'll go, I've run out, so I'll just pick up the brush and get a little bit more. You can see it sucks it up very fast. This will be a lot stronger now because I've just loaded it, but that's all right. Okay, the paper around, not so much in the middle here, but I've just put the blue on. And so now I'll wash it, pick up this and just dry it a lot and then change to another colour. So I'll change to some of the browns at this stage. This is the madder. That goes on. Some big ones there, so that means how wet it is when you get the bigger spots. Wash that and dry it as best you can. You could actually push it onto the table and dry it a bit more. Phthalo. I'm not using that to check it because, well, hey, might as well let loose. Okay, so this will all move in a minute when I actually spray the paper. Phthalo. I haven't put yellow in this mix. Basically, I've got yellow for later, but I haven't used it yet. I'll use that when I start to put some on with the brush. And so this is the pink, big pink, not much colour. I've just about run out already. Oh, now I've mucked it up. Okay. Take it off. Rose madder. Okay. Getting all colours in the water doesn't help. That's probably dirty as well because I got all the other colour in it. Now I've got the pink. I'll bring the pink more down the bottom. Now I'll be able to spray the paper and see what happens here. So when you spray, don't think that it didn't wet and keep spraying, because by then we'll have done too much. Okay, that's probably enough. Now I'll wet the middle of the page. Spray just, oh look, there's some in there as well. Done that. Okay, so it's about where I want the crane and the actual city. I want the crane up round here, so I can put some colours in here and let it run. Don't let it run too much or I'll ruin what I've already done. And so the colour that I want underneath some of the crane will be some of the madder brown. Could have enough there, but just in case I don't, I'll put some more out. Some madder brown underneath the building there. And okay, so I'll drop that in. It can do its own thing. I could spray it a bit more. I could actually put some on up to about where that building's going to go. And it can run. I don't care what it does. I don't want it too dark, so I'm probably better off to let it run, but this will run as well. So just be careful what you're doing there, that you don't lose it all. That can come down the building. Can go up the building. I don't care exactly where it goes. I don't care. It can do its own thing. It can run out there. That'll just be on the page when I go to do the other work. I'm going to bring it over this way. Not too much as this is moving, which is a good thing. So I'm going to bring it over to the edge of the page, over this way. Just get some brown in through here, running out of clean water. And I'm also going to put some Windsor yellow in that as well. So that's Windsor yellow. Just pick up plenty of water, let it go in with that. Give it a bit of a spray so it can start to move around. So that'll have some yellow over through there and then come in through over to the buildings. Okay, that's it. Could go up a bit. It's amazing how wet the paper is and I've still got a certain amount of control. Don't want to see this edge. Don't want to see that. That's better. Could possibly move itself out that way. And so then you get all these, I'll take some of that off, take it off to the edge and take it off with the tissue. Okay, so now I want to move down the actual page. Put it back so you can see it. Okay, and I'm changing over to colours. I want some phthalo in through there. So now I've got phthalo. I could actually put some phthalo at the top. Some phthalo into that. I'm looking at the actual, I am looking at this and just putting colours. Sorry, I'm very quick. I am putting some colours in and letting it do its own thing. And of course, phthalo is quite a beautiful colour to move around. So this will just now put colours in the area. I don't care where. I'll change over to some cobalt. So all the colours down here will be colours under the building. I'm not trying to paint. Once you start to paint, you'll lose the actual essence of what we're trying to do here. I'll get that out of here and bring it down this way. Bring it over. Get it all to come over here. That's it. Now I can take it down and I can get it to spray. Okay, so that's where the other brush might come in. I do need to take some of the water off it. So to take the water off, I'll get it off this way. It tells it where to go. Water tells water where to go. Water follows water. I could pick that up if I wanted to, or put it up here and tell it to go off the page that way. That's a really good colour coming there. The colour that's coming is more of a grey, which is really nice. So rather than put more water on here, I want it to do something else. So I'll just let it go down. It can go down the page. I don't care. It's a tall building. I'll let it go down because now I can put more water on it. Okay, take off the edges. Take that little one off. Take that off. Okay, so now I can put more paint on. And so this is where the building is. Love the colours that are up the top there. That's really working well. And now I can continue on with the colours again down further, repeat them or put more of the other colours. So if I put all the colours together, I end up with grey. I've run out of the brown, so I'll just put what I've got on the brush there. I don't want to take all the speckle out because I want that to stay. I want it above the cranes. Start to get all the other colours. So what the other colours all make is grey. So if I put some yellow in, I can leave the windows, put some more of the cobalt in, rose madder, move those around. Dry up my streaks to start with. So if there's too much water in that bubble, it's a bit of a bully. It actually decides that it's going to do something else. Come back up here and pick up my red. I guess the colour I need in here now is to really set this flying is again the phthalo. That's the colour that did it previously. It's a colour that's going to move everybody out. I like this. I want the softness. Put that in there. That makes purple. Colours are pretty. That's all I'm aiming for at this stage. Don't want to go back. I'm going to have to bring them down. Okay, now I've got more water on it, it'll do more things. You come off. Okay, still playing with this bit. The top's doing fine. This bit's where I'm playing. It's gone into a dip. It's been wet there because I'm on smooth paper. You keep smooth paper wet for any length of time, you'll end up with it doing that. Now, when I said I had the hake brush ready, and that was if I had something, and I don't not like that, but I'll just show you that I could just brush across it and just get colour to do other things, even down. I could get some of the, I like that, not touching that. I don't want to touch any of it, but I will just to show you. I could just come down and that'll just take a little bit of water out of it, but I'm going to leave that because I think it's interesting. All right, I'll put it back in the vision so you can see the whole thing. Now I've got some section to put the buildings on and put over, and then I'll come through and find the windows. And also I can put the cranes on when I put the next lot of paint on. If this sits, it'll just sit and get darker in those patches, but I don't mind. So that'll be the first stage. Now I'll actually set it aside to dry. I've dried my paper. Unfortunately, I left it in the sun to dry it quickly and it's buckled, which I'm not that happy with. But anyway, I'll draw it up. But before I actually paint it again, it'll take a little bit of a while to draw it up. I'll actually retape it before I start so that it won't have these buckles, because that's going to affect the next lot of paint. Alright, so originally I had the blue where I wanted the cranes to sit on the page, and so that's where the first section of it is. So if I do that and take it away, that will tell me, and I'll move it over this way a little bit to get on the blue, where that first lot of the building is, round about there. So I'll start to draw. I won't draw the whole thing on the video, drive you all mad, because I do turn my paper a lot, my board, to get angles. I just shifted everything off the desk, and I don't generally use a ruler. Okay, draw it freehand to start out the building. Now once I get that, I can then start to get more of it on there. And so that's the first part of the building. So that gives me an idea of what angle this is at. That comes down. And all I need on this first part is the top line of the building. The top image of that. That's all I need. I do need to know where the cranes are, but that's all I need at this stage, because there's another lot of paint to go on. So if I drew it all up now, I'd then be having to paint over it. And then if I actually wanted to rub anything out, it's under the paint. But if I do it now, then I could actually rub it out. So I'm just not going to put too much on to start with. Just an idea of where the building is and what's happening with the building. So that's got the section coming down. So I measure everything. It's got the building coming down this side to about there. Okay, that's the first section. There's something on this paper that's been outside, and I just found it underneath. That's why I'm sort of stopping in my speech, because there was something underneath the board. Okay, so that comes down to there, and it is the image that I need to know. So then that comes back in behind the building, and so that comes across parallel to this other one. And I need to know where that is, because then there's a mess of stuff down here. There's all this stuff down here. So all I need to know is where that is, and the angle that that's coming away, and the distance that that's coming. So if I put that on there, have a look at the angle. It's about that angle, moving away to the vanishing point. And so there on mine, it would go down to that angle on mine. That will give me that other line. It then comes down how far? Around about that far. And of course this is my building now. It doesn't really have to be exact. It comes down to about there roughly. Can't see the line for all the spots. There's too many spots on the page. I'll go in a bit closer so you can see what I've done. Okay, so I've just started to get the top, but then the unfortunate part of that is that as I'm drawing, I get out of the actual vision. So I'm going back up a bit to get the first crane. So the first crane comes from down in here somewhere, let's say about there. It's on the second one of these, about there. The crane comes up and goes up that angle, and the angle is that from the, if I put it down here, the angle is at that point, straight up the page. And so that will go up, straight up the page. And that will be where my crane will go to. That'll be the top crane. And so then I can actually, I won't draw with a ruler. It'll come up to roughly about there. come up out that way. And that will be because I need to put colour on here when I actually do the next lot of paint. And so that will come out again. How far? About that far. It's got angles. Remember, it's still going to the vanishing point, even though it's up that high. That seems to go across back that way. So that's probably too long. Bring it back in there. Now they'll join up with the 3 points. So I'll do the outside edges first because I can see those. That'll be the outside edge will join up to that one. The outside edge will join up to that one. And then the middle one is further over here. That joins up. So I'll just put, I don't need to do that much on it, but I do need to know where it is. And that'll come into here as well. Okay, so that's how the cranes will actually go. That top of it's silly, that's not right. So I will sit for ages and keep rubbing out and drawing until I get a drawing correct. I don't say I'm a wonderful drawer, I draw enough to paint, that's about it. I'm not the most perfect drawer, but it's enough to actually complete my artworks. Okay, so that's the top of that crane. All right, so I'll continue on down the wall. The wall here would be parallel, I believe, to the edge of the paper. So I'll just measure that. Yes, it is parallel to the edge of the paper. So wherever I put this edge, it comes back in underneath. I lost my pencil. Am I still in your view? Yes. Back in. And then the wall comes down. So whatever width I start that wall there, however the length of it is, will be the same as it comes down. It's not very tall, but I'll measure that in a minute. When I get this spot, I'll then measure how long this is down the wall. From where? I'll measure from underneath that to where? The next thing starts before that, so it's only that far down. Just about exactly as I did it. So that can stop there. Then it's got something off this wall that's about here. And so the angle of that is coming back down this way, and it's about that long. It's coming down this way. What line did I do? It's coming down this way from the top of that, so it's coming here. Something there onto the wall. Okay, comes back away, going down. If I put it close to this, it's easier for me to get the distance of that and how far it's coming down. If I can pick up the pencil, move it over, get it to come down. This will go across. It's narrower at this end than it is at the other end, but I don't need to worry too much. All I need to do is get the building on, and I'll get this angle when I come down the wall by measuring the wall, because this building is exactly the same size as that building, and I'll be painting down and letting a lot of darker colour run down the page. And so some of this you'll see, some of it you won't. Some of it will leave windows, other places it will cover. So that's the wall coming down. Now this comes across to the other wall, and it's about that. I go to the edge of the paper because the tape's not able to tell me exactly. Is it in the same place as this? Probably not, but it will give me the angle anyway. Give me the angle that it's coming in there. Okay, that'll do for the angle. And where does it come? Just comes past that wall. Comes across that way. Okay, now this is a box that's on the wall here. That's a box. It doesn't look wide enough on this edge, long enough. Could be a fraction higher at this end. That means that the angle that I just did that line at isn't strong enough. It should go up a bit higher. and then out. And that'll give me that line down here now. So I'm drawing enough of it for me to understand what I've got to do to get the paint on. I know I've got to come underneath that. Do I want the pole? I can put that in. It's at a little bit of an angle, but that doesn't matter. I'll just make that go where it's disappearing. I think it is still disappearing. And then I've got the white pole. So I'll put the white pole parallel. No, it's still got a bit of an angle. These ones are straighter. They're straighter. This one's at a little slight angle. Goes up to the top of that, so I've got it too tall, but that's all right. And I'll make that the full height. This still has to be higher. What's going on? A little bit out. And I'll make the top of it, it's got a cover on it or something, I'll make the top of it just fit on there. It's got something that fits over it. Okay, so then I'll move on across and start to come down the other side. So I've got the other side of the building here coming down. Where does it go? Up underneath that one. Probably about there, and then it comes down. I've got too much of a gap between that and the other one, so that was what I was just drawing there. It just doesn't make sense. So it's only got a little gap there. That comes across parallel to that one. So I have to decide whether I'm going to put paint in these places or miss it. So that's going to be what's going to happen there. That is at that angle. That becomes that, then it comes back. Now I've got the actual coming down here. It can come down as far as it needs to, just in the line, because I've got to come out from there. How far would that be down? Probably about that far down from the top. From the very top. I've made those bigger than what they are, so I'll come down to about there. Have a guess. Have a guesstimate. Okay, so if I look on the other side here, it is a lot higher than the box on the other side, and it's not far down from there, so I'm going to take it about there. It'll be at the same angle, I believe, as that. Yep. So whatever angle that is, this will be the same angle. Okay. Okay, so that'll come across. This wall will continue down anyway. It's got other stuff on it, and then it's got these same sections. Just a bit of an angle. Next one. So now I'm almost found the area of the top of that part of it. It comes back in, and then it comes down to about here, straight down from about there to about here. Oops, better rub that out. Comes down to about there. Can't see where I put my pencil. Can't see at all. Must be this one. So I just keep drawing till I get the line, and then when I want to get it stronger, I then come over and get the line and then rub some of it out. So I've got several lines there, but I'll just keep working on that until I get the correct line, roughly. So now I'm still working down around this area here. Comes over and there's a another crane in through here and this building. So what I'm going to do is bring this building up to about here. And I already have the dribble down the page. That dribble will suit to be that building. Hang on, I'll go back a bit. That there will become that building. Simply because it's already there in the actual paint. It could come out further to the edge of that. And then that will make that, it's got lines down it anyway, I could use those as lines. That will make that, and I won't draw too much more on there, but at least I've got some of the colour that's there already for the top of the building. It can have more of that colour in here as I put the rest of the colours on. Okay, so now we've got a crane that goes up to round about, okay, if I measure that across, comes to about there, comes up about that far from that. Comes up to about there, whatever I was drawing, which was one of the landings. The landing to that's above. That's just about opposite. So that's just about opposite. So it's a lot further up than what I've got. Let's see if we still make it. Yep. That's where that part of the building is. So that's over about here, the top of that. Let's say it's about there. That'll do. Okay, so that will be in there. It'll have the part underneath it. And then we'll have the square of that. Now, whether I get that other little part in there, I can get that in wherever I like. Just something, whatever that is, that makes it look interesting. It's just the edge wall of something. That'll come down. And then the crane is in here. So that's about the width of the crane. Now I need to come up and get the crane on. The crane's leaning in. It's leaning in slightly into the picture. It'll fall over by the time I've finished it. It'll go up to there. That'll get straight. I could do that with a ruler later and get that perfect if I need to. And then start to draw the crane. And then this crane goes in after that. So I'll continue on drawing and just get that right and then come back when I've got the rest of the cranes on. Now the artwork's drawn up, I'm about to actually start to get the actual top of the artwork. So basically a lot of the drawing I've done is only the top. I haven't sort of done any detail down further. So for this I'm going to be using a number 0 and a number 2 mop brush and also a liner brush, a spray bottle, and the colours was Madder Brown, Winsor Yellow and Indethrin. Phthalo Blue. Okay, so I'll begin by just getting some idea of what the area is that I want to depict at the top of the artwork. And I've got phthalo, so I'm just going to actually put that on as water and just start to get the shape in the top of the building. Okay, so this brush really doesn't give you a straight line, but it gives me lots of water, and that's what I'm looking. That's what I'm looking for, is a lot of water that just sprayed over the back of the artwork with the brush. So that's what you've got to be careful with using these brushes, is that they tend to flick because they're so soft. But as long as I get the idea of where this paint's got a head, I can come off that and down around here, and I'll leave some sections out of it. So I've just got some light. So because I've got a straight line there, I'm going to stop there, get the other side of this line, and just come down with water. And now I've got the start of what I can see there in the artwork. Now I'm going to keep that wet, so I'll just drop some water into it and continue on. There's another crane over here. I'll get that crane. The crane will go past the other crane. Don't often have things crossing in the middle of my work, but because it is cranes, they'll cross, they'll do whatever while they're actually working, so I've left them as they are. Again, I'll leave sections out of the original painting so that you'll be able to see some of the original colour. So I'll come down there so you'll know that pole's there and pick it up later. I'll leave the blue at the top, so I'll change colour. I'll do the madder brown just to sort of show where I'm up to. That can go into there. So these colours will all join together eventually, and they'll run around and hopefully just mix. So because I've got basically the look of primaries, the primaries will actually mix and hopefully make something like a bit of a grey. That'll come down the building. If I can't see where it is, then I'll just put a little bit more paint on. That can come down wet. Pick sections, leave sections. I've got not much drawing in there, but that'll do just to sort of get sections. That whole section can be darker. Didn't intend it to go over there, but because the brush did, I'll just let it go over. That'll come out down here. Maybe do a line down there just to let it run, because if it doesn't know where it's going, it can't run to those places. Don't leave any gaps. Put some of the brown in over here where it was in the turquoise, just to keep it wet. I just want this to stay wet. Just change over to some Windsor yellow now. That can go in there, keep that light. Again, in areas across. I want it to join up because I want it to be able to run. It sort of went over there, so I'll make that into a proper shape if that happened, just a square shape. Just keep going with colours. Drop some yellow into that, that'll make that go green. Not enough water. If it doesn't move, then it's not enough water. Put some yellow in that, that'll go to a dirty colour. Okay, moving over to the other side. I'll quickly go to this side and finish this side actually. Wash the brush, changing over to phthalo. Just let that go, nothing on there. Make these change colour. I've left a lot here, so I don't want so much there, so I'm just going to take that up closer. Now I can see what I've actually got. Do extra lines in it so that it's got more paint on it. Keep it wet. I'll let it go up the pole. Whoops, just moved. I've got the photograph beside me so that I can see a little bit about what's going on. That'll go down through there. I better move over to the other side pretty soon. That can be wet. If it hasn't got any colour, then I can't see what's there, so I'll just put some colour in. Back to phthalo. So you can see I'm just at random changing colours. Oops, that's that flick that I was talking about. Colours. If it runs in there, I don't care. I'll have madder brown over here. That doesn't join up just yet, but I want it to join up so that it'll run, so I'll just come across. Anything I want to make move, I'll let it run. Put some yellow in that as well. Move that over. Okay, still haven't got this section up here. Leave a little bit of light on it. It's got the framework, that can be done later. I need the crane. Oops, that's a bit dark, but that's all right. I'll keep working with it. Down the crane. Okay, so that's just the original colour there, so I'll just take that back. I want to keep that original colour. I guess I could put some on this section here just to get something up there. It can be have drawing over it later. Those can have drawing over them. Okay, so I've gone about far enough to actually start just adding random colours. I'll add just the phthalo to these. Some yellow. That will go up through there, down through here, and I'm trying to get it the same wetness all over so that then I can run colours. That's good. Probably a little bit down there. That went over the edge, that doesn't matter so much. Down to here, put some yellow in the blue. Okay, now I'll start to see if I can get it to run pretty soon. What's happening up there? We need a bit of blue up here. Okay, I'll start to see what I can get to happen with it running. It only runs where it's wet, so it should not do anything terrible. So I'm tilting it towards myself. Make it go round. When it gets to the bottom here, make it go to a different direction. That's going too fast in the brown, so I'll bring it across faster. See where it will go. Oops, have I lost any cranes? No, I don't want to lose the cranes out the other side. Okay, so now I've got colours up on the sections. I need that a little bit stronger. So, okay, I'll add the opposite to what's on here and put some of the madder brown in that. This has got all sorts of colours going in here. Can have a bit of phthalo. The paper's getting a bit buckled, which means it'll get trapped in some places, but that's all right. Don't care. Colours. So what I'm looking at is colours that I need to change to make them into another colour, which this one could have a little bit of yellow. That one can have some yellow. Browns. Okay. So I'm looking at where it needs to go around to come back down. It's a little bit too red at the top there. If I can get it back up there successfully without ruining something else. Or I'll just change it. Okay, so I've got the colour up the top. Now it's time to introduce some of the other colours. And so what I'm going to do is get the madder brown and get it really wet and get it on the paper. And spray. Not up there, that'll just spray it right out of the whole business. Don't mind that. Okay, it's got a spot of dark paint there, I'll just move that. It's coming down slightly. That's nice, where it'll go into this marks where the spray's gone. Okay, so then I'll add other colours. I might move that over a fraction. It's just trapped there, so I'll move that over a fraction. Okay, see if you'll go over that way. Now it won't dry exactly like this, never does, never dries exactly as you've got it. Okay, so I've got Winsor yellow that can come into that and make it into a different colour. Change the edge of this, so I'm just changing that edge. Go a little bit further with that. Can go up into those colours. Now they're soft sort of colours. I can see where it's missed places as well. So I can just come down and just play in that a little bit. Got gaps in that, which is nice. Not unhappy with what's going on here. And so the next colour will be phthalo. That'll come in and join up with the original phthalo. And remember, phthalo's a bit of a bully colour, so it can do anything here. So I've got phthalo that can join up with that, do its own thing. Can go up into here. I'll spray it away from the other part of the building. Oops, that was a big spray. And I need these two to join up somewhere. So I'll damp it a little bit there. Now the phthalo can take over the whole artwork, so I've just got to be a bit careful here. Let it go into the original painting. Let it go over to that. Maybe I could get some different shapes in here as well. Something interesting. Something from that to the other side there. That makes it interesting down here. It's got somewhere quite stunning to look at. Probably need to get the brown back over, but I'll put the yellow in first. Really wash your brush well, or you will mix all your colours up. Just add a little bit of yellow through to join those up. They'll do their own thing. Turn into the brown, get that to come through and out the other side. So I'm balancing those colours up now. Let it go back up to the other colour. Again, I've got another area of something because there's lines all down this part of the artwork. Just lines on the building. And then it comes down. So I'll see what I can do with this colour here. That'll do its own thing. I'll let that out to the edge of the page just to get rid of some of the moisture out of it. Get rid of the bits on the side. Tissue's in the wrong hand. Get rid of that. Watching what this is doing now, and then I'll spray the bottom. Because they're tall buildings, don't want to lose that. I'm just moving it around in different directions to see what it will do. That's come down here very lightly, so that won't matter much when it dries. There won't be anything much in that. I don't want to lose that light in the middle. The light in the middle will come back. If I tip it the other way, this way, that light will come back. Don't lose all of that. Now that'll dry. Okay, I'd like the colours to be more vibrant down the bottom so that it has some impact down the bottom and some softness at the top. So I'll start out with just coming down the edge of this with the madder brown and just get that stronger, just to get that edge. That edge is really quite crooked down there. So that now has started to get that building to have some colour on it. Come across there neatly if I can. I'll just get the brush to come around a couple of times just to show the building. Let it get wet, let it do its own thing. So then I'll add some stronger colour at the bottom. Just in through there. It can do its own thing. It can cauliflower, it can do whatever it likes. And spray it just behind this and get it to do its own thing out through there. Hasn't done much yet, but I'll make it do something. And let it out. Obviously it hasn't touched this section here. It can stay like that if it wants to, or I can bring the paint down to it and just come down a bit lower and let it go into that area. I could spray the top if I wanted it a little bit softer. It needs to look like it's running. It doesn't need to be stationary paint. It needs to look like it's moving. So that's the madder brown that I've enhanced through there. I'll bring some down through here and add some into that. And so I'm putting it on dry because when I put it on dry, it'll give a different effect. It'll give a different edge to it. And that's something that I can work in with the water spray. Don't want to take it over that. I like that colour through there. Just add a little bit more colour down through here. And that's very wet. So the wetter the paint, the less vibrance I'll have in it. So I'll just add a little bit stronger paint. If I wet behind it too much, it'll come over there. So I'm going to spray it that way. Head it out there. Head it up that way. So now I've got some stronger in the two places. I'm going to bring some in here somewhere, but I'm not going to spoil that. I really do like that section of it. So I'll come underneath that, add some more of the madder brown, but before I do that, I'll put the Winsor yellow in. Quite strong Winsor yellow in through here. Could go up to there, into here. Now when I add madder brown, it's going to change that. And so in behind it, I'll do the madder brown just in brush marks. I don't care what it does so much. And then let it out that way. That can go, don't do that. Okay, so if I don't want that, I know I don't want that because I don't want to spoil that part through there. I'm just going to dry that off with a tissue. Don't do that. Okay, so that's actually got the colour in three places that will make a person sort of look around the artwork. Now I want to get the phthalo into it. And I left the phthalo till last because as we saw earlier, phthalo can be a really bully colour. So if it goes in here, it's going to take over. And so I'm just going to come down through here, leave a new edge in it. Quite a strong edge, and I want that to be really strong. Can come down into here slightly. Just bring it across so that I've got a fair amount of it. I could actually just put a strip. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So if I didn't mean to do that so strong. And my water sprayer doesn't want to spray, I'll just spray it. That's better. It's done something for it. And this one I'll spray back this way. Or I'll run it back this way actually because it may be wet behind there. That's gone into the madder brown and that makes a blacky sort of colour. Now because I've put so much water on there, that's going to dry light again. I don't want that. So I'll come back again and just drop that in and make sure it can't get too light when it dries. It's in the buildings. So that's left a mark in through there. That can stay soft, I guess. I still think I probably need more of the phthalo. And the phthalo can come back into here somewhere. I don't want it at the same level, but I don't want to get down too far either. I might put some down here. Just down the edge of that. the edge of this one to straighten that up. That's crooked. Oh, now it's crooked. And spray it. So now it does its own thing as well. Can go up into here. The colours can run. Don't know where you're going. This one's decided. I'll leave it. I'm not going to try and fix it all. I'm just going to let it go and let it do its own thing. Not that happy with the length of the matte brown there, so I'm just going to wash my brush a little bit more and see if I can get into the winsy yellow in through there. Winsy yellow will soften that a little bit. And maybe give it a bit of phthalo. This has done something interesting. That's what I love with watercolour, is the things that happen that you don't really intend to happen. And that's the nature of water moving around on a piece of paper. What happens if I just touch this and go up? I'll get more of that pretty green that I did like. Dry the brush, put more in and let it run. Don't want to touch the original bit. That'll stay. That's got that lime green now in the middle. I think that's enough impact for now, so that will be dried. Okay, I've just started to draw up using a pencil to get the idea of what the crane is actually going to look like, and it won't be exactly as the crane is. I'll see if I can get a bit closer so you can see the crane. Okay, so I've just started to use a white hybrid gel pen just to see if it turns out well enough on my paper. If I couldn't see it, then I'd actually see it there. Now it doesn't work. Just worked a minute ago. So they can be temperamental. So if I just take it slowly and I'll come across that area there, I can do it with a ruler or I can do it freehand and just start to get either lines in there. I'll start by bringing lines down. I've also actually got a two bronze, but they're different companies. I'm not going into companies because there's lots of gel pens around. You might get your favourites in the end. Okay, so I've just got that. Now to make that look light there, I'm just going to put lines down it. And so I don't know whether you can see what I'm actually doing, but I'm making that section look a little bit lighter with just line. Some of the lines I'll come around different parts and do different colours, but I'll start here and then go up the actual crane so that you can see what I'm actually doing. Then I'll leave it and go and do a lot more work and then come back. This one's one of the bronzes, and that will give me the outside edge of the top here. It's about there. That'll give you the top line. These gel pens look really good when you get the difference between light and dark. With that line there, it'll just sort of straighten it up, but it won't make it stand out too much. I'll put one down here just so that you can see the line. And that way, on that area, they are notoriously temperamental. Took a couple of goes on that one, so I'll change the pens to the other one. Now, when I store these, I always store them with their lids on and store them that way down. They're always down so that the ink stays down in the head of it. Otherwise, they dry out very, very quickly and they can be a pain. So if I'm doing a major artwork, I probably would get another one so that I know that I'm not going to get caught short. There's a line down here somewhere. I'll just do it in this other one. That one's a different colour, you can see, but still stands out. A little bit goldy. I didn't really want it to be gold, but it is. But lines like that, you'll see them better if I use that. Doesn't overthrow it. I do like the colour of that one better, but as I said, she's a little bit temperamental. I don't know whether shaking them. I did hear shaking them doesn't do anything for them, but to me it looks like more of the inks down here. Anyway, I'll continue on. Most of it's going to be done in the white anyway. And so drawing up the tower, the crane, I was actually drawing it up by putting a line down to that line and then a line across. A line down and a line across. That's to start with. And I'll just do this much of this one, and then you'll be able to see the effect that it isn't exactly as the crane is. You'd go mad trying to do the crane. That's too much work. Oh, that one went down too far. I've got to remember when I do them to only do that line to the first line, not right down. How far have I got to go? Probably one more. That will do there. What happens at the top goes into the other colour, so same pattern but different colour. Okay, so if I actually get the lines, I'll do this freehand. No, I won't. It won't work. It doesn't look like it's got the full white in it at the moment. It's still very light. I still don't think shaking them does anything. Okay, so I'll start on the line across here. It was working perfectly before. I'll do the lines up the edge in the other colour just so that I can see them clearer. Just for the contrast. I'll do that line last. That line goes over the top. The pattern on here was, as I said, straight across. It's about that angle, straight across to halfway, and then the wedge. Straight across, the wedge. How far have I got to go? Straight across. The wedge. That will be the last one there. That will join up with that line. It's done pretty well. And the top section here, that's in this colour. Didn't quite get exactly what it was, but that's all right. Okay, now this is the end section. And what I'm going to do is just put lines on that to make it look a different colour. Just little lines just on the end of it to make that a little bit more positive. Okay, I'll wrestle with this white pen again. If it doesn't work for me, I guess I will be stopping and purchasing another pen. Works when I do it on something else, but it won't work when I get to the paper. Let's have another go. I'll just go up a bit further. No. That's useless. All right, I want it in white, so I'm going to have to stop. Previously, my white pen had decided not to work, and they can be very, very quick to stop working for you. So if you're going to do a major project, it's a better idea to actually buy a new pen before you start. When I left, I just started to pen. I've tried a little bit of gold in places. There's a little bit of gold down there. And the silver stands out much more than the white. So I've decided to put those metallics away and just continue with the white. And at times I'll use the ruler, coming down from the side here, I can use the ruler to actually do that line, and then I'll stop. Probably come down to about, no, didn't need to do that, and stop, and then start again and come right to the bottom of the page. Now it hit and missed, which isn't too bad. I don't care about that. And the next line, I don't know where that's, oh yes, I do know where that's coming from. And it's from there. So I'll start coming down. Wherever it hits and misses, I'll just let it happen. Stop. Right to the bottom of the page. Wow. It's really unhappy as well. Brand new. Okay, so I'll come back and get this line again. That's better. I just cleaned it on a tissue. Yeah, whatever will be, will be. I'm not going to worry about it. Just keep working. Pick that one up that was gold. Stop and start. That'll come out underneath that one. Okay, we've decided to stop again. You won't see a great deal on the lighter areas of paint. Maybe I should slow up a bit. I'll just make it work. Whatever ends up there as I go, that will be what'll happen. I'm not going to play around with it. I'll stop and start just for the sake of it. That can go down to there simply because I don't know where it's going. And pick it up past this point down the bottom. And so this particular one will have the two main sections to it if it decides to draw. Clean it again. Oh, it's hard work, isn't it? Shouldn't be that hard. Okay, I'll come up here and see if it'll perform a little bit better where it's gone round the corner here. And so I'll just start the lines down here, and then I'll get to the cranes. Where there's straight lines, I will do the ruler. I don't think there's many prizes for crooked lines. If I put it beside the other side, I can see if it's straight. If I do it without doing that, I can't see. So mainly the pinning is going to be at the top here. It won't be at the bottom, it'll be at the top. That'll have lines parallel, changing to be just slightly bigger at this end than the other because of the vanishing point. So they'll go back that way. There's nothing much on it here. I'll just pick parts of it. I'll do some freehand as well. That would have sections probably on that. That can have work on it. Just basically do any pattern to make it look like it's got something of construction in it. That'll just change that. Okay, let's go back up to the cranes again. I'll move in a little bit closer so you can see the crane. And so the crane has a pattern on it. If I turn it sideways, it's easier for me. Turn it that way because that's the way my wrist is going to go. So it has the long one coming in first and then a short one. A long one, a short one. Still can't see it. Long one, short one. Now some of it I haven't drawn right, but I can come back to that and rub the rubber out so that now you're starting to see it. It's a long one, a short one. That gives you sort of an idea of what the pattern is on the crane. I'm just going over what I did with the rotten pen. That changes here and goes around that direction. I've changed it now. No, I'm going back to the other pattern. Okay, so then it has the sections going down. Some of this is in gold. I don't like it in gold, but if I can get it to do it in white, that'll be really good. Looks like I need to buy another pen. Or I could do some in black. I'm going to pick up a black pen now in desperation. I'm going to do these lines in black. Oh yeah, they're hit and miss as well. Oh well, hit and miss is better than nothing. At least you can see the lines. That one was better. There's a line through here. I should miss the downward ones, but I'm not going to do that now. I'll do it on the other crane when I do it. At the top of the crane, it has a crisscross pattern at the top of the crane. That's better, you can see that. And that would come back the other way from the point of it. Just put something around the top of the crane. Need to be careful of these too. If it's wet, it'll smear. You can get on your ruler and smear as well. Okay, so let's see if we can get this a little bit better. That's playing better. Also, I like to do it on the top of the ruler, but I haven't got the ruler that way at the moment. But that stops it from getting on the ruler and causing a problem. We're getting a crane. Okay, still can't see these lines, so I'm going to do those in black. Short, long, long, short. Okay, that's where it starts to go around and change direction. And what happens on the back ones, it's the same going back the other way. Oh, okay, it's the same going back the other way. So it's a long and a short, a long and a short. Don't know what it is, so I'll make it up. I'm lost now. Now it is made up completely. Now, when you've got this up at a height, it won't make too much difference when you see it up the right way. So turn it up there, and you can see the crane's got a pattern on it, that at least it's got the pattern of some of the crane. There's another line on the back of the crane as well. There's another line up here somewhere. Better. Okay, so of course these work much better on the darker paint. So if I come down this way and draw down here, you'll see that a lot better, but you can make up whatever pattern you want on yours. I will use the ruler. Maybe I'm pressing too hard, I don't know. No, I'm pressing lightly, does the same thing. Now, because that went out further than what it was, I just made it go out further. I'm not going to play with it. It has a pattern in here of probably a stairwell. So it has a similar sort of pattern in here. And just make up what I need to make up the top of it, whatever. They can finish there, I don't care. Okay, so what else can I have in here? I can have lines down here. I have just straight lines across there. It's just decided to stop itself. I'll put diagonal lines in this one. Okay, so down through here there's sections of light in through there. So if I do that and do a couple together, that will make a difference to it as well. Just a couple of lines close together. Just work out where I want it. Don't worry about the colour of what's underneath it. Just do what you're doing. Okay, that's enough in there. I possibly need some more work in here to fix the parts of this that have got sections on it. That's a good place to actually get some of the white. Okay, what else? Lots of down lines. Through here there's lots of down lines. So I'll just pick places and just put lines in. I like that. Do them differently in different sections. That's starting to look like it's getting something in it. Now these ones have a line and a V. They have a line. And I'll do all the lines first. That'll do for that line. That'll do. And then they have a V in the centre of it coming out. Don't worry about that one. Okay, there's a back line coming back from here. Making it look a little bit more dimensional off the building. Just continue the lines down. Don't have to finish anywhere else. So this is actually giving you a good idea of what it will look like when it's finished. And so I'll keep working on that and possibly come back when it's finished and show you what it looks like. I'll go back up actually so you can see the whole thing. Alright, so you can see that there's still a lot more can be done at the top. Nothing much is going to happen down here. Only enough to get bits and pieces to sort of show you what's going on.